Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about what to do with overwhelm, specifically emotional overwhelm. I'm going to share with you one of my favorite tools, so stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new, please click the little subscribe button and the bell to get notifications when I release new videos. And if you've been with me for a while, thank you so much and welcome back. I wanted to first mention my new Patreon link below. What is Patreon? It is a membership for my YouTube channel. What that means is if you watch this video and you want the exercises or the worksheets or whatever I have that goes along with the video for homework, you can join tier 1. If you like that and you want to join tier 2, you get everything you get in tier 1, plus you get a personalized question you get to ask me every month through email about your healing journey, and I will respond with a voice note telling you everything that I think about it, insights, and work to do on that. So kind of a cool option if you can't afford my one-on-one coaching or if you see that I'm super booked. So that link is below. So to jump in, how to deal with overwhelm. The thing is this, I get so many emails lately about this question because let's face it, this last year or so has been crazy. It's been so overwhelming for everyone in different ways, whether it be health, relationship, job, family, so many things going on that people are just super overwhelmed. And so I really thought about it last night when I read these emails and they were all asking the same question as usual, this collective consciousness. And I said, what did I use as my biggest tool to get through overwhelm? And in fact, what do I even use today? And it works so well. I've just refined it a little bit. So I'm going to share it with you guys. The first thing I want to say is, for some reason, this has been coming up a lot in my work. Your pain is not what's in the way. The pain is the way. And your wounds are not what's in the way. Your wounds are the way. And so when we really look at that, you can see overwhelm as not in the way of something, but it is the way through something, right? So this is how I like to reframe it. So last night, for instance, I was in a state of overwhelm. I'll just be honest with you. I had 3 really huge decisions I had to make by today. And I was in overwhelm because I knew that each decision would affect the other thing. Now, the thing with overwhelm is we are afraid to do something wrong. We are afraid to do the wrong thing. We are afraid to make a mistake. So we get overwhelmed with all this stuff happening at once. We don't want to let someone down. We don't want to upset someone. All of this has to do with overwhelm. So when you look at the emotional quotient of overwhelm, it is massive. So here's the thing. I sat with my huge decisions last night and I realized, number one, yes, I'm overwhelmed and I'm going to acknowledge the fact that that makes sense because these are really big deals in my life. So number one is acknowledging that the overwhelm makes sense. Number 2, most important part in my opinion, is making the overwhelm okay. Yeah, I am overwhelmed. I totally am actually, because I have to make this decision, this decision, this decision. I'm upset. I'm worried about upsetting these people. I'm worried this. This is totally okay that I'm in overwhelm. I am safe in my state of overwhelm. Step 2. Step 3 is not going to the comfort zone. So often when we're overwhelmed, we're like, forget it, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to stay comfortable. No, because the thing that you're probably overwhelmed about is something that needs to be taken care of. And the point of life is not to stay in your comfort zone, it's to grow and expand into the person and more of the truth that you truly are. So don't go into the comfort zone, but what I do instead is I make myself comfortable while I'm uncomfortable. So last night I did a lot of self-care, I rested, I took space away from these decisions. Step 3. Step 4, I realized that as I acknowledged my overwhelm, there was an underlying emotion that was creating the emotional overwhelm to a level that it didn't need to be. So that's step 4, is there's always an underlying thing we're not looking at. That's actually a bigger deal than the decision. So for me, what I realized is one of my decisions was I have to take this trip. It's a business thing and I have to take this trip. And I was overwhelmed because the dates that I'm supposed to go, I can't go because I have all these clients, right, that I don't want to upset or put out in any way. And the other point is, if I worked around those clients and flew on a weekend, let's say, the price was skyrocketed. So I was like, oh, this is overwhelming. So I decided, okay, my underlying overwhelm is that I don't want to upset people and I don't want to have to go through moving all these people. But you know what? Is it really that big of a deal? No, because I had already booked out one day for the trip that I'm not going to need, that I can actually move those people to, a couple of them, to see if they could do that. So I thought, wow, less of an overwhelm because I now have clarity for an option. So when you figure out what that underlying, number 4, that underlying emotion is, you name it, you say it, you take an action step towards it, clarity starts dropping in. So I had clarity. I said, you know what? It's easier because I want to go. I got to go. It's important. I'm going to see if I can move these clients, and then I'm going to book that ticket. Now, let me see if that ticket's still available. So I went online. There was one, not kidding you guys, one seat left. It was assigned for me. And it was a seat that my business manager is on. And I was like, oh, okay. That's the deal. So I'm going to book it. So I booked it, emailed the clients. That overwhelm was cooled off. It was soothed. Then it was the next thing I had to deal with. So now, step 5, after you've done all that, deal with the other part of the overwhelm. The other part of the overwhelm was this other big thing I have to deal with. Well, within that second crazy thing that I had to deal with, there was all these options I didn't like. So because I'd already dealt with part of the overwhelm and the underlying overwhelm, now I got to see that I didn't like these options. And I thought, okay, well, I don't like them. So the answer is no, but they told me there is no other option. I decided, step 5, call for support. So I called a friend for support, and she gave me this amazing door number 3 in this experience that I didn't see. And I said, ooh, awesome. The support, number 5, worked out. So now I'm working on that door number 3. 2 things down. Now I got 1 thing to go. Now the 1 thing doesn't feel overwhelming. That's the point. Now what I can do is simply take care of that without all of this other stuff going on that wasn't being addressed because of the overwhelm. So, as review, 5 steps. Acknowledge. It makes sense I'm overwhelmed. Number 2, totally fine that I'm overwhelmed. Number 3, not running to the comfort zone. Number 4, what's underneath that overwhelm. Number 5, call for support. It works every time for me, but it is a process, and you can't rush it, and you can't just get it all taken care of at once. You have to do each step because the clarity that drops in there is what you really, really need. And when we realize that being in overwhelm isn't wrong, and it isn't bad, it's just what it is, we can stop having fear about it and start feeling more safety in our experiences of big emotional overwhelm. So I hope that works for you guys. I also wanted to mention my 2 courses, Emotional Rehab and Shadow Work, are going to remain open until this weekend. We will close this weekend, so those links are below. As review, Emotional Rehab is a 12-week program for highly sensitive people healing inner child wounds, emotional wounds that help not attracting toxic relationship dynamics. When we have inner child wounds or emotional wounds that have not been healed, we attract toxic relationships. So that is the root cause in many, many cases, most cases, I'm going to say almost all cases. Also, what happens when we don't do the emotional wound work is we can't be our authentic selves. Which brings me into shadow work. Shadow work is integrating all parts of your shadow. The golden shadow, the part of you that is gifted or shines bright, that's afraid of joy, that's afraid of her own power. And the dark shadow that's been shamed, that thinks there's something wrong with her or him. When you take both parts of you and you integrate it by doing the father wound, the mother wound, the societal wounds, when you do all of that work and you integrate those parts of yourself, you become an attractor for your purpose because you were born perfect for your purpose. If you're now being who you truly are because you've done the shadow work, your purpose is something you will step into. I will remind you, your pain and your wounds are not in the way. Your pain and your wounds are the way. They're showing you the part of you that got the misinterpretation that there's something wrong with you. That's the part of you that's in the way from your purpose. You were born perfect for your purpose. I'll say it till the end of time. So guys, if you have questions about any of that, please just comment below. Please just give this video a little like if you liked it. Please share it with one person at least that you think it might help. And also I will say I have Instagram that I post on every day in the stories. So if you're interested in that, there's a link for that. I love you guys so much and have a great week.